Thank you. I would request all the panelists to come to the stage now, and as you get seated, I'll introduce you. Take your time to settle down, and then we'll start.
In order?
Any order is fine. Are you all comfortable? Okay. All right, so welcome to our panel discussion. The panel discussion is called, the topic of our panel discussion today is Product Management 2.0, What Lies Ahead? And I'm sure this is, as I attend a lot of conferences, I attend a lot of meetups in the product management field, these are some of the emerging questions that I have seen that every product manager is asking today. And every product manager today is asking some questions around what is going to happen in the future, and how do I stay on top of this craft? How do I advance myself? How do I stay on top of everything that's happening? And how do I ensure the success of my career? So we are going to answer all of those questions today. But before we get started, I want to quickly point out that this panel discussion is very special for three main reasons. First, some of the most influential product voices are sitting with us today, and I'm glad we could make it happen. And second, that this is the first time that we are doing this kind of a format in ProductTank San Francisco. We've always had a keynote followed by question and answers, but we've never had a panel discussion. So this is the first time we are doing it. And third, that we have people from different career stages today to ensure that you get a holistic perspective of what the future of product management is going to look like. So let me first introduce myself, and then I'll introduce the panelists. So I'm Ketki Vaidya. As Glenn mentioned, I am one of the organizers for ProductTank San Francisco chapter, and I'm an AI product manager at Oracle. So I've been attending a lot of meetups and conferences around product management, and this is one of the most exciting events that I'm going to be a part of. So I'm very excited for it, and I hope all of you are excited as well. So before we dive into the discussion, I want to ensure that all of you can focus on what is going to come ahead and the complex things that we are going to talk about. So I want all of you to take a deep breath. Take 5 seconds to inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold your breath. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So now we are ready for the panel discussion. Let me get started and introduce our panelists. So first we have Udodirim, and she's also, I'm going to call her Dodi. She's one of the first friends that I made at the ProductTank San Francisco chapter. And we've been planning this event for about 6 to 7 months. So I've been talking to Dodi about this event since many months. So she works as a product manager at Microsoft within the Copilot infrastructure team. And she graduated from the Minerva University in 2023 with a double major in computer science and business. So everything that's going to come to you today about the future of product management from an entry-level product manager perspective, Dodi is going to give you that. So I'm very excited about that perspective. Next we have Shubhansha Agarwal. Just a minute. So Shubhansha Agarwal, she is a product leader at Yelp. She is a seasoned product and engineering leader delivering 10 times growth in global technology companies. She's recently authored the book 1 to 100, which we are going to talk about during the panel discussion. Next, we have Mayank Yadav. Fun fact about Mayank, we went to the same college for bachelor's in India. Not the same time. Mayank was just mentioning that he's older than me. Don't want to highlight that, but so he has been building 0 to 1 products in growth companies, which often involve significant innovation. As he's going to give us the perspective of what it takes to go from 0 to 1 in product management, and how is the role of community going to shape product management in the future. So I'll let the panelists introduce themselves as we go through the discussion. But let me also talk about Marilee. Marilee, I have been following her content since a long time. I've also attended her AI for Product Management bootcamp. And she's one of the world's best AI educators. She's also recently been a top product management voice in both AI and product management on LinkedIn. So there's a lot to learn from Mary Lee, and I've attended multiple conferences that she has spoken at. She has about 10 plus years of experience at Google and Meta, and also a PhD in machine learning. She's an award-winning product management leader. So she's going to also give you the perspective of what she's been seeing in the industry as an AI educator and as someone who works on some of the most innovative products in big tech companies. So I think that gives you a good background of what you can expect from our panel discussion today, and I'm going to get started. And before we dive into the future of product management, I want to quickly take some time to dive into who you are as a person. And I would like all of you to introduce yourself as an object. So if you were to identify with an object, what would you introduce yourself as? And just to give you some time to warm up to that question, I'm going to start. So if I think about myself, I would say I am like a water drop because I'm stable on my own, but I take the shape of the container that I am in. So these are just some sort of answers that you could give. And let me start with you, Dodi.
Okay, so I recently started reading fiction books again after a long stint with career development books and self-help books. So I'm going to draw inspiration from that. I would say that I am a well-written fiction book. My story is unfolding, and like with every new chapter comes new people, new characters, new experiences, new adventures. And I think I'm a blend of like fun and mystery and comedy and surprises, and also highlights and lowlights, right? In my life, I've experienced both of those, and I think it adds depth, it adds richness to my story. So yeah, a well-written fiction book. Okay.
Mayank.
This is deep. This is pretty...
Will you be able to match up to that?
Thank you. I'm buying time now. This is buying time. Tip for buying time, say all these things and you buy time. Wow. So my journey is about big tech, startup, failing, getting up, again big tech, so eBay, Uber, first 5 PMs, craziness, startup, Facebook, startup, Reddit. As I look back and think about also personally, I think I'm a ball that keeps moving. It's more about just moving and not thinking what's behind. From a career perspective, professional perspective. People, I care about all of them. Then fall and jump and fall and jump and keep rolling. That's me, I feel. This is a hard question, but yeah. I'll try it next time again. Yeah.
You got the difficult ones done first.
I'm a ball, yeah.
Shubhansha.
Love that, by the way. This is definitely a hard question, but if I have to pick based on my journey, I would pick a tree. And the reason for that is I think I'm one of those people who've come from very different backgrounds. I've taken all the learnings I've had, I think similar to what Mayank just said. Engineering, B2B, B2C spaces, design spaces, research spaces. And I think taken all of that and continuously improving and growing is something I truly believe in. And then always being resilient and adapting to change. So I would pick a tree.
All right. I would be a lava lamp. And let me tell you why. I'm very creative. Lava lamps have colors, right? And there are ups and downs in my career as well. But I don't know if you've seen these bubbles. When they move, they stick to the other bubbles around them. And you have like this mass of many bubbles going up and down. And this is because I love community. I just love long-lasting relationships. And what we're doing right now is what gives me energy. So on every step of my career, I've loved this. And I want to try something, okay? So let's see. I've been planning this for a while. Let's see if it's going to work. Fingers crossed. All right, come on. Don't fail me now, ChatGPT, in front of all these people. All right. Well, there is a widget that does not work. Bam, here. Hey, ChatGPT, you're here on speaker. We're at the Product Tank. It's the Mind the Product meetup. And we're going to talk about Product Management 2.0, what lies ahead. And I'd like you to introduce yourself to everyone and tell us if you were an object, what object would you be? All right. Let's see.
Hello, everyone at the Mind the Product meetup. I'm ChatGPT, an AI developed by OpenAI. If I were an object, I'd be a bridge designed to connect ideas and people. helping to translate thoughts into dialogue and foster understanding in conversations. I'm excited to be a part of your discussion on Product Management 2.0. What are some key topics you're exploring today?
Okay, thank you.
That was cool.
She wants to do the talk for us.
That's our fifth panelist.
That's a good glimpse of what the future looks like. All right, so now we'll start diving into what holds in the future of product management and this craft that we are all into. But we don't want to start with any assumptions, so I want each of you to define what product management means to you and also give us a glimpse into the day-to-day life that you have as a product manager. So, Dodi, we'll start with you again. This is going to be the order each time.
Okay. Let's see.
I chose the right seat, get some time from both sides.
Okay, so I think that product management is the best role. And this might be my naive early in career self speaking, but I absolutely love the diversity of experience and the variety of the role. And every day you're doing something different, you're working with different people. But when I hear product management, what I think about is 5 main things, right? So the first one, customer advocacy. We always say, we have to empathize with customers, understand their needs. And then I also think about big picture thinking and being able to zoom into the details, right? So being able to have a vision, but also being able to break that down into actionable tasks. And then I also think about stakeholder management, right? You're working with other teams, you're working with management, and you have to be able to communicate your vision, you have to create clarity and get people excited, right? And then you have cross-functional collaboration. And then the last one is project management, which for me is a little less exciting. But I think those are the 5 main things I think about when I think product management. Yeah.
We've gotten all the right keywords. Mayank.
I think we covered the basics and fundamentals of product management, vision, users, so on and so forth. Look, when I think of product management, I always think about a very non-tech version of myself. I feel somebody who's a director in a movie is a product manager. My mom, who's a lawyer and also manages everything we do at home in India, she's a product manager. I have a product manager in my team. He's really good because he thinks in structure. And I asked him, what's your background? What did you do before this? And he majored in music. Wow. And then I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And my respect for orthogonal skill set that is super high now for product managers. So in short, anybody can be a product manager in my lens. Again, there's a technical product management, very different scope, but there's a depth of knowledge. But in general, I would say anybody can become product manager. So now, next question: what I do in my normal life and future. As I'm growing, 13, 14 years of PM, doing product management in crazy companies like first 5 PMs at Uber. There, it's nothing to do with strategy. It works. So your job is to just make decisions, quick decisions, and move on. The decision making takes time because you don't have enough information. Could be research, could be data, could be something else. Part 1. Let's say you work at Meta or a big tech. There you're looking at the big picture, the next big opportunity. Same problem. Decision making, big team, cross-functional. With the evolution of, first of all, about we make decisions every day. This is all we do, whether it's with full information, partial information, but that conviction that you can still make a decision with partial information of whatever kind it is. Research, data, launch, no launch, shut it down. That's what we do at this level now. So what's the future? I think the decision making will get much more faster, efficient with AI. It's not about how it will replace us. It's more about more such non-PMs can become PM now than ever. The decision will be much more faster, will be higher quality. That's how I see in PM in the 2.0 world. That's my point of view.
Interesting coincidence, Mike. One of the leaders in my company comes from music background, product leaders, and I hear the word choreography once a week from them. So
there you go.
So I guess there's a trend there. To the question of what it means to me, I will obviously not cover, but plussing everything that Mayank and Dodi said, knowing your basics. I think I would say what I've learned after many years of experience is a couple of things that goes beyond the skills, which is intuition. At some point of time, you've done enough product that you have to really start relying on your intuition. Belief, because you have to have thick skin. You have to really believe in what you're doing. There's a lot of stakeholders. There's a lot of voices coming at you. So you have to really be motivated. And third, humility to be wrong, because again, there's a lot of the product management is subjective, even though yes, you have a lot of research, you have a lot of data, but at the end of the day, to Mayank's point, you're making call every day, you're making decisions every day. So having the humility to be wrong and then adapt and then move on to the next.
I mean, you said it all, but well, if I were to define a product manager, I would say it's someone that helps their team and their company build and ship the right product. Now, there is a ton to unpack there, and there is a very diverse skill set. Every single word I said gets translated into a different skill. But what I want you to keep is that, and I echo what Mayank said about strategy, it's the people that define the what. It's like it's an orchestra and they're all playing music. You're the conductor helping them play music. If everything goes well, you give credit to everyone there. But if everything goes bad, you take the blame. And I know most of you are PMs here, but it's not for everyone, right? I hear everyone wants to become a PM, but it is not for everyone, right? You step up, you get the blame. Sometimes you're the janitor. Sometimes, you do work that, is not as cool as you would think it is. But it's freaking amazing. And there's no day that's the same as the other. There's no routine. And also you see the energy in this room, right? So I wouldn't change it for anything.
I think these answers precisely sum up why we are product managers and why we are in this field. And I also want to reiterate the message that Mayank mentioned, which is also something that we're always trying to convey at ProductTank San Francisco, that anybody can be a PM. And it's always good when you come from diverse backgrounds, you can bring those transferable skills to this craft, and it's always appreciated. So now getting into what are some of the trends that would emerge in the product management field in the next decade. But I want to go with very specific questions based on your experience. So, Dodi, I'm going to start with you. As a recent graduate entering the product management industry, what are some of the trends that you have seen which you are the most excited about?
Sorry, let me think for a second. Let's see. So I think I'm most excited about product managers becoming fortune tellers, or essentially predicting the future, right? I'm making big bets on like future technologies or future features. And I think it comes with intuition, and it comes with having a product sense and a product vision. But I think in the future, we're going to have to be think ahead so that we don't get left behind, so that we're not always playing catch up. And I think as product managers, we're going to need to be very flexible, very adaptable, because as we see, trends are changing so quickly. Customer preferences are changing all the time. So we have to be able to adapt and reprioritize as we get new information. And then I think another trend that we're going to see is product managers now, it's not sufficient to just exist within your company as a product manager anymore. You need to exist within the industry. You have to always have your ear to the ground to know what is happening, what new technologies are being made. And you also have to think about how you can leverage those technologies to provide additional value for your customers. So I think those are some big trends that we're going to see in the future of product. Yeah.
Love those predictions and love the term fortune teller. I always thought product managers were dreamers, but I'm going to add fortune tellers to that. So the next question is for you, Mayank. You have built multiple 0 to 1 products in growth-oriented companies. And today we know that products have to innovate. They have to keep innovating all the time. So what are some of the shifts that you see in product management practices within the industry to accommodate innovation and encourage it?
Look, I'm born and raised in product management cultures where there is no such framework. You create your own framework. So let's say, just to give a blend of my meta experience, different meta experiences, Facebook, when it was Facebook, no team is same. Every team has their own tribe, their own culture, own way of operation. Why? Because The goal was to go deep and understand your problem and come out with a solution. Now the question is, who can think big enough is actually the winner in the game. And I think that doesn't change. So first is what doesn't change. The ability or the need to understand the problem. Problem can be user, your business, or a supply chain ecosystem, whatever. And then coming out to, and then have the ability to think big about what the solution can become doesn't change. That we need to have no matter what. Now, what will change, what inspires me to do this job every day is, look, the trend has already started. Pick any big tech right now, most big tech right now. The CEO was a PM at some point of time. Now, the reason why that has happened is, again, it's starting with big tech, but it'll happen in most companies because PMs are no more just about working with engineers. That's how it started in the beginning. Write the spec, get the work done, sort of project management, but with some ideas and some strategy work. But now it has evolved completely. Now PMs are mini GMs in their own world. You are not measured by the launches you make. You're measured by the outcomes you create, right? And that shift has started across the world. And believe it or not, it'll happen in most startups. Startups are even more rigorous after they raise a couple of rounds. That's the change I'm seeing, where they will measure it in outcomes and not just launches / progress is real progress is based on outcome and not movements. What that means is every PM sitting here or an aspiring PM sitting here or somebody who's around you, focusing on cross-functional learnings is important. Focusing on outcome is important and dreaming big is important because then we are developing future leaders here and this batch, we have people here, also, it's a different stage of life. Some of the leaders will come from this batch. So product managers will be this is the seeding ground for the next leaders in the industry across tech and also beyond that. So that's my sort of projection of what will happen next.
Yeah, I think this is one of the best times to become a product manager and we are at the right place.
I think so.
All right, so Shubhansha, next question is for you. I see that from your background, I see that you've always been an advocate of diversity and inclusion in STEM. How do you see this being incorporated in the product management practices, and how do you think it will impact the innovation that a company can create or a team can create?
I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, which is now everyone can be a product manager, because the way I see it, the craft of product management is not going to change. Everything still holds, but you may just have more tools under your belt. You'll just have things to do faster. You'll have data at your fingertips faster. You may not have too much reliance. So I guess more independence as a product managers can lead to more people with diverse backgrounds come in and become product managers, which is great, right? Like, imagine like if more diverse backgrounds, we're going to have more interesting products versus just the same audience. But to your second part question, which is, how does it impact the products that we are going to build? I mean, from me, who's actually built a career out of content generation for years, I do think this is a very interesting space for many reasons. One, I think very immediately in the first part of the decade, we will see a huge spike of AI products. This is my fortune telling. We're going to see a huge spike. Everybody is going to create not only products, every product will have AI piece into it. But then that also comes at the cost of authenticity, that it comes at the cost of what's real, what's not, what's created by actual humans, what's opinions, what's not. So there's the content that's created by people is going to become invaluable. The people who work on moderation, trust and safety, people who work on all these identifying what the content is, which is, again, not the fanciest part of the product management job, but those will become invaluable because eventually we will need to find a balance between user-generated content and AI content. So I think we'll see some bell curves of AI happening in the decade.
I think so. Just to add to it, it's a good point. Like preserving the human-generated content would be a thing. We are seeing it Reddit as well. Yeah. People are chasing AI summaries and AI content creation from existing content, but that existing content will be gold after a point. So I think it's a good point.
Actually, as a research, I just today showed 10 users, 5 AI videos and 5 user-generated videos, and they couldn't tell it apart. So, and they wanted to know which one is what. So it's interesting that it's happening.
But I do see that when the content is generated by ChatGPT or whenever it's AI-generated content, it doesn't sound natural. It does. You can still distinguish it.
But it's not too far.
Okay.
It can sound natural very soon. I mean, there are a lot of algorithms being built for us to like tweak that. We don't even need to make it sound, honestly. I mean, I was reading a research, 70% of Facebook, Instagram is on mute. So you don't even need voices, you just need video for people to convince. So, yeah.
That's going to be interesting to witness. So, Marilee, next question is for you. You have spent 10 plus years at big tech companies. How do you see the role of AI evolving in these companies?
Very good question. By the way, do you remember Clubhouse? We all were in during COVID, and the panels where you could like unmute to do this, to clap. I kind of wanted to do this because I agree with everything you guys said. So there are two things, and I want to call them out, okay? There is AI product management, which is the art or the craft of working with research scientists that train models so that you can leverage them, so that you can create like a personalization experience or suggestions or automation or matching and so on. And then there is AI for product management, which is the toolkit just like discussed, which helps us throughout the product development lifecycle. So for the I hear a lot of people mentioning one but naming the other. So I want to dive into both. I think in the future, all product managers will be AI product managers in the future, in the sense of the first sense. People will need to feel comfortable having as a cross-functional partner a research scientist. And I know that right now people say, oh, don't I need a technical background or a PhD or anything like that? The answer is no. If you want to stay ahead, is learn how AI works, what the modeling process looks like. Don't code, just understand what goes behind it. Because all features will need to have some AI in them, similar to what you said. But in order to stand out as a PM, you will need to add this little strategic thinking in AI, and that's really going to tell the good PM from the bad PM. Now, the other thing I will say is there is an elephant in the room, which is how bad the market is right now. And I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of them are between jobs. I just love seeing PMs becoming entrepreneurs. And I was actually in a talk yesterday by OpenAI's founder in Stanford. I waited for 3 hours to get in, by the way. And he said, hey, the best time to start a company is now, because AI is just taking off. A lot of people still haven't discovered it. Other countries have not discovered it yet. So I tend to remind myself, hey, this is Silicon Valley, and not everything we see and we take for granted here is happening otherwise in other places. Last thing I'm going to say, I just love seeing companies like the sponsor you have saying, hey, come to us, we'll give you gig work. This is amazing and very refreshing to see. So I just wanted to appreciate this because a lot of people are looking. So thanks for doing this for the community.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad that we are talking about AI, and it's a good segue into our next question. We can't talk about the future of product management without asking you the question of, will AI kill our jobs? So we're going to start with you, Dodi. What do you think?
Okay. I don't think AI will kill our jobs. I think that product management is a very human-centric role where, we have to empathize with users. There's some strategic thinking that's also involved in product management, and I don't think AI can emulate that, at least not yet, yet to be seen. But no, I think AI would augment our roles, that's for sure. Because, okay, have you even tried writing a PRD with ChatGPT? Or, sorry, Microsoft Copilot? And it didn't give me like a great PRD, right? But when I give it information to synthesize for me or like to break down into requirements, it's very useful there. So I think it would help us in a number of other areas, but it would not replace. Like it would help us analyze data, it would help us extract insights from data, but I don't think it could replace us product managers in the near future. We'll see.
That sounds encouraging. Mayank, what do you think?
Look, I think she answered the question pretty well. I mean, it'll augment our roles. I think from where I sit right now, the question is, can something make decision-making faster? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what AI is doing to at least PM discipline from that perspective. An analysis that would have taken 10 days will take 1 day, or maybe 10 seconds. An analysis that would require 5 data scientists will take 1 now, because rest can be done by PMs at their own level. a deeper cohort analysis for an experiment that is not performing well will be done much faster now through auto detection of the anomalies there. So I think it's augmenting the role, or so rather not augmenting is one word, the other one would be it's improving the quality of the work we've been, improving the quality of time that we're spending in our work every day versus doing the chores, if you will. We'll rather focus on the right problem, the creativity, and the decision making, and remove the noise from our workplace. That's how I see it. It might also create a new stream of PMs. For instance, there'll be PMs who would rather use AI to her point. Like I do think it'll create new ways of integrating AI into different non-technical aspects of it, and for that you need domain expertise. For instance, I was in Dubai last year for a conference, and I was hearing a lot about AI chatbots, customer support. These are all solved problems now. Everybody's trying to solve the same problem. The question is who is reaching the customer first and selling them. They get the client. That's the reality. Everything else is the same thing. Okay, now what I was not hearing is that Dubai is a hub of shipping. What is the problem you're solving for shipping? So I think bringing that depth would be our job now. How can it bring the non-tech world, understand the domain there, the problem there, bring it back to the drawing board, and then use AI to solve it faster. So that might change. It'll be more focused on non-tech problems from our perspective. You'll see more of that coming in Silicon Valley as well, along with faster decision making.
So I think this goes back to the initial point that we were discussing. Strategy remains the foremost skill that we would need to have as product managers. And
I think it's not just strategy. I think it's understanding the why, the what, and the how. And we can't be good at just one. In fact, it's the reverse. When we start a journey as early PMs, I don't think I should have cared about the why and what, because honestly, if I can't execute, those things don't matter. In the early stage of my career, when I moved a little bit up, like let's say doing bigger projects, then the what mattered. And even before that, now at this stage, the why matters, because most of the time the investment is not the right investment. So I think we have to play in all three places, but the question is, where do you apply them? We might see more non-consumer tech companies coming out, is my point. Because AI will actually open up the problems you can solve, and the PMs will now go deeper into non-tech world to solve those problems. And that's what excites me also, by the way. I don't want to be a consumer PM in the next 10 years. I want to be a non-consumer PM applying consumer thinking to a non-tech problem, use AI to solve them. And that's the PM I want to become in the future.
got it. Shubhansha, what do you think?
I mean, they've really said it all, but I'm excited to get some time back, guys. That's what's going to happen if I have this tool for me, right? But I'll give an example with a book that I really love, and I would recommend it to everybody. It's called 10x is Easier Than 2x. It's by Dan Sullivan, and I think it's a Bible for product managers. The premise of the book is, whatever job you're doing, any day, it doesn't have to be your day work, anything you're doing, 80% of it is not valuable. 80% of it is something you're just grunt work, something you're just doing to sustain yourself. And a lot of it is true in product management. You're sometimes just trying to hack your way and grow and get those metrics in. And only 20% of your work is actually work that's going to set you up for decades, that's going to set you up. And that's, if you see companies' product roadmaps, they kind of show the same thing. 20% is always given to innovation, 80% is given in like immediate metrics. I think that's what's going to happen. I'm excited for letting go of that 80% so I can have 100% of my time on the visionary work. So.
Or our health, just chill,
Yeah.
work out.
Yes, great point. Yeah.
Verily, I remember reading one of your LinkedIn posts and you said we have to start treating AI more like a coach. So what do you think about this?
Yes, very good question. AI is not going to replace our jobs, but product managers that leverage AI will. What do I mean? I have an intern. The work and the quality they produce is phenomenal. If I was an intern right now next to this person, I had no chance. I don't think I would survive. So embracing them, the tools, is a necessity. It's not a choice. And that's the point I want to make. And I'm going to try this once more, just because I'm curious. We are product managers. Are you going to replace our jobs? Be honest. Too good. Too good to be true. Of course, it's not going to work immediately.
I guess it can't be honest.
We are product managers. Are you going to replace our jobs? Be very honest. You know what? I think that's what it is. It's like, I don't know what to say to you now. All right, well, you had your chance. We know the answer. But one more thing about AI. AI cannot read the room. AI cannot understand the energy that's happening here right now. If there is something critical that we need to put the PRD together, it doesn't understand, where this project falls in terms of, what the market is going on right now. On your point about the PRDs, I completely agree. But I created a custom GPT, and it produces the best PRD, and it's amazing. Someone did it at Samsung, I think, and they got fired because they were like, I want to build a new phone with 3 sensors. Can you create the PRD? And Samsung is like, hey, this was confidential. So we need to be careful with these tools. But I'm excited for the future.
Me too. So now I'll start with you, Shubhansha. I think we've given Dodi enough chances to go first. But as I look at what's been happening in terms of the different conference tracks and what people are talking about in product management meetups, I see that people are increasingly focusing on sustainability and ethical considerations. So how do you think that changes the way that product managers would have to think in their day-to-day responsibilities?
It's a great question. And again, comes with the territory when you have AI. I still think it's very early. I still think we're still learning what its capabilities are. We're still learning what we can do with it. But I still believe as product managers, we have to go with transparency in our products. If there is something that is AI generated, whether that's a video, whether that's a content or anything that you're showing, it's good to have that transparency, because at the end of the day, if you break trust with your users, they're not going to come back. So I think that's one of the ethics that as product managers we can start thinking about, as we are at least starting to explore till we are all mature in this space and know what the actual applications are.
Mayank, what do you think?
I'll add the other part of it. So that's more about ethical work stream towards AI, like how can you think proactively. There's other part to it on using it proactively in areas where it can actually accelerate our work towards safety, especially coming from like Reddit, Facebook, and that background of mine. There are problems that we can solve through AI in content, understanding, where you can understand, is it fit for teenagers? Is it fit for anyone else in this room? Is it a valid content? I think if we use AI to accelerate those work streams in our own organizations, that's also our job right now. It's our responsibility to make sure we use it for the right reasons faster than we use it for the destruction of the world. So that's something we take very seriously. I mean, I think we all do here. And it's happening already. Like, we're seeing it already happening at least Reddit and other parts of the world.
Melody?
Yeah. We shouldn't forget we are PMs, and PMs solve for our users. So AI is cool. We shouldn't use AI for the sake of AI. There is something called the shiny object trap, which is let's not use the shiny object for the sake of it. So whenever we build something, it needs to use AI if it absolutely has to. But we always need to protect the user. Here's an example. I got an Apple Vision Pro, and you put it on, and it's like, hey, do you mind if we register your iris so that next time you put this on, we can just unlock it because we know it's you? Of course, from an authentication PM perspective, it's like, yeah, super cool technology. But take that to an elder, right? Elderly person. Take that to someone that's not a PM, that's not the tech. How are they gonna feel? So I always keep my mind for these people, because we're solving for the average person, we're not solving for the tech-savvy person. So not only do we have to protect them and their data, we also need to explain what is going on in non-creepy ways, okay? I think that specific tutorial had like the iris with a laser that's scanning it like this, saying, yep, smiley face, this is you. This was completely wrong, right? So yeah, we always solve for the user, need to explain it, and protect them, because I don't think they know how to protect themselves. And I'm so happy that in EU, the first AI Protection Act got voted, and they have some really cool things there, like, hey, in public spaces, you should never guess the sentiment of the people in like airports and stuff like that. But yeah, we have more responsibility than ever, and we're always building for the users. Let's not forget that.
I think it will also start becoming a part of the government policies soon, which will also serve as good guidelines for our product. So what do you think, Dudi?
I'm going to add to what Marilee said. And I think as product managers, we should strive to create products that benefit society and benefit our users, right? On the topic of the shining syndrome, I think sometimes we get super excited about all the potential of like a new technology that we fail to consider the consequences, right? And many times we think about like the business, like we prioritize business interest over customer interest. But as a PM, you're the advocate for the customer. So it's important to also, in all this, carefully consider the vulnerabilities that you're exposing the user to, or like even changes in their behavior, choice architecture, like these unconscious things that affect our users. I think it's our responsibility to carefully consider those and as much as possible try to mitigate the negative impacts. I think that's an ethical responsibility that we have as PMs. Yeah.
I think that's also precisely one of the many reasons that AI will not kill our jobs, because this is what AI can't do and humans can do as of today. So I want to shift now to what the customer expectations are and how they have evolved over the last few years and how they'll continue to evolve in the next decade. So I see a shift from the normal products where customers wouldn't expect a lot out of it, but today they are looking to create real-time experiences. They are looking towards more personalization in their products. So how do you think that is going to guide our future product roadmaps? And what are some of the skills that product managers would then need to have in their hat to be able to execute the launch of such products? So I'll start with you, Mayank.
Cool. Look, it might sound repetitive, but I just feel they're very simple things. It's not that difficult. Like, we just have to understand who the users are, what their problems are, and then figure out the best solution in the market, best solution for them. The one thing that's important is, which I think Marilee mentioned a little bit about, is we need to know what are the possibilities at your disposal to solve that problem. So, for instance, just putting for instance, the Meta WhatsApp has now a Ask Meta, option, AI bot. Okay, like, is it blending into your experience, or is it there for the sake of it? Maybe it is for some, maybe it is not for some. But if you think about how we have the Gmail auto replies getting much better based on your experiences, you don't feel it's there. You just feel it's solving a problem that you had already of understanding who's a spam, who's not, and then replying to the customer support person with a very specific question and getting a response. You're saving time there. The point is, the PM who worked on those features, they have to know it's possible. So for us as PMs, we have to think about what the possibilities are, what are the options available for us to solve the problem. But look, the foundation remains the same. You still have to understand the user. You still have to understand their problems. You still have to find which one has the biggest opportunity and then have that breadth to pick the right solution. So I don't want to I know people disagree with this, but after a point, it's first principles that come into picture, and those PMs go really far. If you are the first principal PM or a leader, that's what matters, but you need to have the breadth to keep abreast with the world and keep innovating there.
Marilee, what do you think? Sorry, Shubhansha.
I was going to say that Mike said it also.
Steve Jobs said once, people don't know what they want until we show it to them. And remember when the very first iPhone came out? I think I'm old, but anyway, when the first iPhone came out, it did not have a keyboard. People freaked out. They're like, I have my BlackBerry, I have my Nokia, I cannot not have a keyboard. How do I type? When Apple created AirPods without the cable, people were like, oh, what is this? All these memes, all these jokes. How many of you have AirPods without wire? There you go. So I think now this is true more than ever with AI. People don't understand it. People don't know what the model is going to do. People don't know what Gen AI does. People are like, okay, AI, robot, oh, they're going to take over my life. So I completely agree. We need to listen to the users, but we also need to listen to our intuition as PMs and solve for what we believe is the good problem. But be careful as you do it. So I'm saying in AI product management, you always need to minimize the risk, and you always need to make hypotheses that you always test and go down. But yeah, it's up to us what we're going to build. Just make sure to prioritize the user and remember what Steve Jobs said. That quote I have printed it, it's next to my desk, and it's very important to me.
Shubhansha, over to you.
I would say when we are building for these, plus on what Marilee said, but it is true that the users don't care about what you're building. They care about you solving for a problem for them in the best way possible that they don't have to think. That's the intent. That's the bottom line. The whole reason why they're using a product is because they don't want to do the work themselves. So again, going back to Google example, Gmail example, it's has to be so integrated that people don't have to think. You're solving that problem for them. A simple example is let's take Yelp as an example, which has too much content in it. One of the most common use cases people have is, I just want to see the ambience of a restaurant, right? And to do that right now, they have to take 7 clicks. That's insane. 7 clicks just to see an ambience. I can use AI generator just to create a quick video for them that has all the different AI or ambient snapshots, 5, 6 different angles that they have the full view versus scrolling through a feed that shows them 20 different things. So that's where I guess why I would just come back is find the problem, and it again just goes back to it. They don't care how you solve it till you solve it for them. So
let me share a similar example. It just happened this week. So if you are editor, if you use Reddit for, let's say, reviews, or rather you go and hang out there, a common use case that we see today, at least my wife uses Reddit for a lot now, not because I've joined, but because she also has a use case. She just got a watch. It was a Garmin watch, and she searched for some reviews, and the whole page showed up, and she has to scroll every comment, everything what's going on, and she had one specific question about that section. Now, a PM, when we came back to the discussion, we were like, you know what, just summarize the entire conversation at the top, and that's it. And intuitively, with whatever noise around us, we would say that's the right answer. Summarize it, and it's done. But if you go to the user and ask them, they don't care about that summary. They care about the right exact conversation from a person who shares the experience about it. They were looking for a way to find, rather cluster the conversations in a way where there are pills there. And then we redirect them to the specific conversation. It didn't need a crazy AI solution. But we would have solved the wrong problem. We have the wrong solution to the problem if we had gone with, let's just put AI everywhere. We were in one of the similar situations with Microsoft, talking to one of the CXOs of Microsoft who runs Teams today. And he had a very good point. He said, look, even we don't know what AI conversation will actually look like in future, because there are multiple ways of doing that, and we can't anchor on one and say this is the one it is. So the more use cases we create, a new generic term will come from that. It'll become the language, the way we speak, or the framework we use to speak with AI or with the interface. So my point is, again, first principle is super important, but these simple things around us can have simple solutions. Look around and do that.
And think simple.
Yeah.
Yuri, what do you think?
I think that we would need to do a lot more experimentation. Like as PMs, we would have to be willing to fail quickly and fail forward. When we take these bets, or when we, like Marilee suggested, when we suggest things that we think users would like, we need to find out quickly and move on from that. If it's successful, we keep and try to replicate. If it's not, we move on. And I think we have access to so much data now, so much data. Hyper-personalization is very possible. We are able to build models for specific customers and show them things based on their preferences, right? So I think personalization is very possible with all the technology that we have available now. Yeah.
Some of very great answers have been given here, and I'm glad that we have so many examples to look forward to here, which gives us a precise understanding of what's happening in the industry and how the products that we create in the future are going to change. So now I want to shift gears to what product managers today can do to ensure that their careers can still succeed despite so much changing around us. And I'll start with you, Marilee, and you can tell us from your perspective as an AI educator and from all the trends that you've seen in the industry so far, how do you think our product managers here can make the best of it?
All right. I want to be transparent. What I see in the industry well, I'm going to talk about realistically what's happening in the industry. There's amazing talent that has gotten let go. And you see ex-VPs becoming L5s, and you see group product managers becoming associate product managers. So it's a crazy market. And I just want to tell people the first thing you need to do is acknowledge and embrace what's happening, and not try to chase things as they used to be. And I found that out, right? I switched jobs in this market as well. In order to succeed, I would get uncomfortable with strategy. There are a lot of PMs, I used to be one, that did not want to dive into strategy and strategic thinking. They only wanted, to build, and do research and build these great, cool solutions. But I think to succeed, you need to arm yourself with strategic thinking and always ask, why? Why do you tell me to do this, leader? Why are we shifting gears to that? Here's what I think, here's what I say. In everyone I'm interviewing, I'm asking, okay, why? And there's always this kind of hesitance. Well, if you want to succeed, get rid of that hesitance and have an opinion that's informed. You may be right, you may be wrong, but having an opinion and a strong point of view is really going to bulletproof you and make you stand out. And I learned that with my friend Mayank here. So during COVID, we were bored and stuck at home. We met through Clubhouse and we started a podcast. And it was about product breakdown, about products. And
Subscribe to Product Breakdown.
No.
Season 2 coming soon.
It's old. Like the last one is from 3 years ago. But anyway, I was like, we're going to do this for the users. We're going to build this experience. And he was like, why? Talk about the strategy. And I have Mayank in my head now when I'm at work. But anyway, strategy is going to go a long way. If you apply for an AI PM role, the first question they're going to ask you is not about models and algorithms. It's going to be, all right, what would you build? How would you implement AI in this org, and why? Like, how can you enhance everything we do in the offerings with AI, and how is that going to give us an advantage and competitive advantage with everyone else? So that's it.
I would definitely recommend Product Breakdown podcast to everyone. I watched a lot of episodes that Mayank and Merrily did together. I think Mayank also did it with Shubham from Amazon. And I learned how we can better build our product sense. So
We need
a shameless plug about the podcast.
We should just upload this.
Season 2 coming soon.
It's 2 years old. Yeah.
Mayank, what do you think?
Look, there's no one answer. I'll start with what I do. First of all, like crazy believe in yourself. Like crazy. It doesn't matter who is the other person. It doesn't matter what the loop looks like. It doesn't matter who are the other candidates. It doesn't matter their market is good. It is good, bad, I understand. But in mindset-wise, you're a baller. Okay? That's part one. And I know it sounds crazy, but it works for me. So I'm saying what works for me. And Reddit is today, Facebook is today, but before that, it was all about this. This is what I've done. So be baller, all right, part one. Now, support that being baller part. Have a story. You need to have a story. Today, if we catch up, what is your story? And everybody has a story. You are a fresher, sort of college, you have a story. You have not worked on it. Create that story. Go for it. No, please.
A narrative.
Yeah, a narrative.
You need a narrative.
A narrative.
I was in economics and then studied tech, and then I realized I can combine the two and become like any piece can be connected into a narrative. I think it's a very
100%.
important point. Yeah.
But then you'll say, it's very easy to say these things, but how do you get a narrative? It's very hard to get a narrative. But the only way to get is do the cycles. Yeah. Start, fun, try with your friend, husband, wife, partner, whatever. Keep pitching yourself, random people. The 11th version will be the best version. And from then, if I wake you up at night, tell about yourself, you will kill it.
I have one more thing to say. I'm so sorry.
Please.
We need to upload this.
Okay. Going on. That's how we work together.
I was coaching someone, and he said, here's my resume. And he had, intern PM on job 1, PM on job 2. And he's like, I don't know what to do next. And I'm like, well, wait, something is missing from your resume. What did you do before that? He's like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, no, tell me. He was a sculptor, okay? And I'm like, add that you're a sculptor and then go become a PM for avatars, for a production studio, for a gaming
Brilliant.
company.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wow, I thought adding sculptor was actually going to prevent me from getting a PM role. I'm like, no, absolutely. Where is he now? Roblox, leading avatars. But like this is the shift you need to make. Yeah.
This is like brilliant, yeah. So these are real stories. I spoke to 3 VPs, 1 senior director, and very good experience, like very good last week. And there is no story. I'm like, what are you talking? You're hiring for staff PM role. Again, the market is hard, I get it. But again, you're a baller, you'll get the best role. And they don't have a narrative. I'm like, what's wrong? So anyway, first is be baller, have a narrative. That's part 2. Look, part 3 is where you bifurcate now. Where are you? You're fresher or early stage, mid stage, late stage. Early stage, it doesn't matter where you're going. It doesn't matter at all where you're going. You need to do the cycles, do the PM work, period. Whether it's a consulting gig, they are good gigs. I mean, our sponsor here, I think we should be paid for endorsing.
This is not sponsored, by the way.
Do the gigs. Trust me, I do some, now after 13 years, I do calls to, like whatever, the hourly calls. I learned so much in those calls and they pay me for that. And I just give them structures, that's all. Why? Because the cycles made us better now, because we've done so many cycles. So if you're an early fresher, go anywhere. This is Silicon Valley. Everywhere there's job in terms of for the fresher, just pitch yourself. Are we recording this or what?
We are.
Okay, I'll share an example offline of what happened.
YouTube.
I'll share an offline example later on. That's true. If you're in a mid-career, you really have to come up with a story that supports your work so far and presents you as somebody who can do the next job. So read the job description. I'll tell you what happens on most job description. When I'm writing a job description, just to give the other side of the story, there are some anchors we share. Like these things should definitely be there. If it's a good product company, like a product not every company is a product company. They can claim they all night, all day, but it's not true. But let's say it's a good product company. The basic thing they ask is, can this person think in a structured manner? That is why, what, how. That's the exact same thing in different languages. And if you come to the interview with all the ideas you have lost the battle. And we all think ideas are the best thing. I mean, yes, but before that comes why. Before that comes the opportunity, and then comes the what, the idea. So most interviewers that we take in the first round they're failing because of they come here to think my ideas will help me succeed as PM. It will not, especially for the mid-career ones. Now, late, that is director, VPs above. Look, there, you can't oversell yourself. Do some groundwork, you got to hustle out. If you really want the role, yes, the market is tough, but how are you different? You're not different by just giving a narrative. They all have narratives there. How are you different? Well, figure out who the hiring manager is. Figure out who is around the hiring manager. Get a referral to them. And you can get it. It's very easy. I mean, if you are in the industry for some time, because you are in the third category, you will find someone who knows someone who knows someone. Get a couple of emails in. That's your soft power in the interview loop. Nobody has that. Nobody is doing it right now. Unless it's a CXO role, like of a $1 billion company, which happens by itself, is different. Then the role converts. So, be baller, prove that you're a baller, have a narrative, and then the 3-point framework on 3 different people.
Shubhansha, you want to go next?
I will only focus on the early stage one because I'm just going by the audience, the people I spoke with. Seems like everyone I met was either trying to transition or explore product management as their first role. Huge plus on what Marilee and Mayank said, which is there is no replacement for meeting people and coming to these types of events. That's what I did years ago when I was trying to transition, and that was actually a good market. But that's invaluable, not only for network, not only because you meet people and you can refer and get referrals, you actually learn what everybody is doing. You actually learn what their work is, the nuances. I mean, we kind of talked about a lot of these things. So when you go in an interview, it's not just academic. You can actually answer these things, talk to the interviewer in a very real sense, give real examples, talk about all the things that you learned, it just shows a lot of depth. It shows a lot of merit versus sometimes when you come in as an early stage person, you follow a structure, you follow given things, and I mean, you can see so many things online. There's Product Manager HQ. There's so many blogs online that will show you the structure to follow in an interview, and that's table stakes. But what sets you apart, I think, is the real experiences that you're getting and having to share that just shows that you're really interested. The last thing I would say is sometimes it is really hard to have a very strong narrative. For example, actually, I was mentoring somebody, and this person told me they have a bachelor's and a master's in psychology, and they want to move to product, and I have nothing to show. And I was like, are you serious? My company is paying thousands of dollars for every product manager to go and learn user psychology. So again, going back to it, you have more than you realize. And I think it's really just a matter of like tapping into it, framing it in a way. Communication is key, because when you don't have experience, you have communication. That's what people care about. So that's what I would say in early stage. Think about that.
Todi?
Okay. It's been wonderful hearing from more seasoned PMs on the panel. So as a person who is early in career, my first year in product after graduating college, what I would say to myself, and well, to anybody else who is early in career in product, is to embrace the beginner phase. It's a very uncomfortable place to be when you don't know certain things, or like you're not thinking the way you're supposed to be thinking, or you think you should be thinking, and you see people more senior than you, and you wonder, when am I gonna get there? Or sometimes I think like I can't wait to get to the point where I can come up with these ideas on my own, or I can critique an idea, like because I have like the breadth of scope. But I am learning that there is value in the beginner phase. Like this is when you're always allowed to fail, but here you're allowed to fail, you're allowed to ask questions, you're allowed to like do things, like try things, they may work, they may not work. You have so much freedom in this phase, and everybody's so willing to help. Everybody's so willing to offer advice or even guide you in your career. So right now I'm just trying to embrace the beginner phase and learn first principles like Mayank talked about. But yeah, embracing the beginner phase is what I would recommend for fellow early in career products managers.
Just one more line. The fact we are in Silicon Valley, the product management that happens here, like even not in New York, like okay, the exception like pockets, we are already in a very good place. West Coast generally, I would just say that embracing that will really, really help. Like we travel a lot. Like I'm sure Melly, you do the same thing. It's so different. It's so different. There's nobody discussing the first principles. It's always about ideas and execution and project management. So I think this is great. Like being here and be a part of it, and then using it for your own advantage will only push us all forward.
So one final question for all of you before we end the panel discussion, summarize everything for everyone. So if you were to give a tip to all of our product managers here, one tip to ensure that they become a successful PM or continue being a successful PM in one sentence, what would you say? So Rudy, we'll start with you.
Can we start with Marilee?
Sure. Marilee, you can go first.
Well, follow me on LinkedIn, follow Maya, follow each other, because tomorrow he will refer you and you will refer him, and then you will create a startup, and then you will create an agency for gig working. You will go there to support and do consultation work. That's the biggest advice. Networking, using these tools, getting rid of being shy. I let that stuff go years ago. The second I stopped being shy, that's when my career started turning to the best. So, and for the hiring manager point, just reach out to them on LinkedIn. Nothing about, oh, can we do a virtual coffee chat? Not like that, but be like, hey, here's who I am. Here's why I'm amazing for that and I'm a perfect fit. I'd love to talk more. That's it. So get over being shy, reach out, connect with each other. Seriously, before you get up, you should connect. LinkedIn has this new cute QR code thing where you scan the QR code. So you should scan each other's QR codes. That's my advice.
Mayank?
Okay.
I'll go with you last now.
Oh, it's me now? Yeah. Oh, a tip. I think I'll give two. One is like just building on that. This whole concept of collective growth. Like we grow together, and this entire forum is about that. And take it seriously. Like it all comes back. It all comes back, and it will come back. You just don't know where and how. So please help each other. And it doesn't matter if you're an engineer right now, or a designer, or a student. Like when I was in New York, like running around the streets, just doing these things randomly, and I met someone there was a thing called General Assembly back then, and after 12 years, I met the person in Austin, and look, we both are looking for opportunities, and it was fun to connect. So you just don't know how it'll come back. So one is help each other. The other is Google the term first principles, please. Like it's very underrated. Yeah, very underrated. I think that's what should be, that's the definition of a good thinker. Forget product manager. And whenever you go into the room next time, whether it's an interview, whether it's your engineering conversation, design conversation, or a PM conversation, or founder conversation, just apply that thinking. We'll go very far together.
Shubhansha?
One, yes, definitely leverage the community, because I actually think it's the biggest community I have seen. I don't think I've seen for engineers or designers or even other fields in sales. Like how many events, if you just Google product management events, you'll see one every week happening in the city. So definitely leverage it. But the second thing I would highly actually give a word of caution, which is be very sure that you want this. Product management, similar to what we were talking about, like AI, is a very shiny role, and people sometimes fantasize it because, oh yeah, I'm going to build something, right? But it is a personality fit. It is really something that you can thrive in ambiguity, that you have thick skin, you have opinions, you have strong beliefs. So it's not for everybody. And it only gets more difficult as you go forward, because the more you go forward, the more you go up in your career, now you're thinking about not just one feature, you're thinking about the whole company. So really proceed with a word of caution. Think about it if it's a personality fit before you go deep into it.
Nodi, your final words.
Yeah. Sorry, on the topic of the fit, like the personality fit, I think that's very important, like knowing your strengths, like the skills that make you unique. Because when you do something that you enjoy, it feels less like work. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in a class with somebody and like you're struggling with that class, but the person is just thriving. And you're wondering, like, what is different about this person? Like, it's almost effortless for the person. I think it feels that way when you're doing something that you're inclined towards, something that like your personality or like certain skills that you have give you strength in that area. So definitely think about like your strengths and figure out if product is a good fit for you. Okay. Then the second thing I would say is to be memorable. Whenever you're in a room and you meet people, like you have to leave an impression on them. You tell them what you're working on, you tell them what you're interested in, so that when opportunities come up, you would always be the first person to come to their mind. Be like, oh, I met this person at a ProductTank event and they were interested in, I don't know, like some new area. And that person sent you the opportunity. I think it's important to always try to be memorable, like leave a lasting impression in whatever room, even if it's just asking a question or volunteering your opinion, do something to be remembered. I think it opens many doors for you. Yeah.
I think that perfectly summarizes the reason why we had this panel discussion for all of you today. We wanted all these different stories and career perspectives to come to life while also showing you a glimpse of how product management would change in the future. So I would like to thank all of the great panelists, and these are people, I booked their calendars 7 months ago because I wouldn't have found a slot otherwise. They're always
I was
busy.
laughing. I was like, what are you doing? We don't know what happened.
You almost canceled though. You said I have a business trip.
I flew in like last night.
And Shubhansha was also not sure if she was going to make it, but somehow it all came together. And the story of how this panel discussion happened, I do want to mention that. I reached out to Mayank first, and we were going to do a keynote for him. And then Mayank said, everyone does keynotes, it's so boring, let's do something different. And then...
Is it boring? Oh, okay.
So everyone does keynotes, let's do something different. And that's how the idea of this panel discussion came together. And we reached out to everyone and we put this together. So I'm loving the different examples that we saw today. And two things that stand out to me from this conversation. One, that no matter how the technology evolves, the why, what, and how of product managers is always going to remain constant. And you have to treat AI as a coach rather than something to be afraid of. So start leveraging more AI in your skill set. It's a wonderful line that Mary Lee says, and I always remember it and like to give those examples to everyone I meet. And something that Shubhansha said, which also I'm going to remember forever, that if you don't have experience, you have communication. So get your story right. And no matter what background you have, you can always paint a good picture for the person in front of you to understand why you're passionate about this field and why you're here to become a PM. So hopefully this gives you some good takeaways to take with you and remember for your career. And hopefully we made justice of the topic here.
Thank you.
So now we'll take in some...
Thank you.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, thank you so
Do you
much.
want to appreciate me?
Oh, I was about to say that. No, you were a great host. And
Thank you.
Thank you for the summary. And also, you can be a great podcast host, to be fair. Ladies and gentlemen.
We actually should include this.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, how are we going to do this? Okay, let's try.
Can I sit down?
Let's see.
We'll do Q&A.
Oh, that works. That's okay. That works. Guys, you can switch now.
You're good.
It feels like a concert. Sure. So we can take one or two questions before we leave the venue. So you can raise your hand and raise your questions to our panelists. Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
I'll go on.
Thank you. I'll let him settle in. Okay, so my question is, I know most of you have been in the product management industry for a very long time. What is that one biggest accomplishment for you that makes you go ahead in this journey and not leave product management?
Deep question.
Why don't you start?
No, I'm early in career.
What keeps me going? I think the process of creation. What I found early in my career with eBay was, so before eBay, the reason for my why for PM was, product management was, I want to be a founder, start my own company. I couldn't do that for whatever reason. I tried a couple of times. And in product management, I found that gratification of build something, you create something. And in the early career, I found that thing was also what the creation process was resulting in wealth creation for others. So I got attracted towards marketplaces. And that, when I do, if you see my journey, it's been always about that. Even Reddit, it's about something about using technology to solve those problems. So when I'm writing a document or thinking about problems or users, when the work results in creating wealth and giving a livelihood to a lot of people through my work, it gives me immense pleasure. I just love it. When I go to a different country and see users using the product and saying, look, we made money from this for our family, I love that. So my why is that, and that keeps me going every day. Yeah.
I guess my would be non-subjective is, since I've been in a product management space, which has been years, there hasn't been a single day where I felt I made the wrong decision. It's a very rewarding role. It's very demanding, but it's very rewarding as well because, yes, you are creating something. And on a similar note, I think just a few weeks ago, I was talking to one of these small business owners, somebody who moved from Ireland many years ago and started a home service contracting company. They didn't know what to do. They didn't even speak the language. And they actually wrote a long email actually thanking Yelp for helping them set up business, helping them get their income and get them settled in a country. I don't think there's anything more rewarding than you being a part of that and you actually enabling that. That's real impact. So that's what keeps going.
The lifestyle. You travel a lot, you meet a lot of people, but you're also the boss of yourself when it comes to your time. There's a ton of meetings, but you schedule the meetings. my daughter has this singing contest thing next week. It goes from like 9 to 12. And I just blocked my calendar and I'm going to go there, be with my daughter. So the lifestyle, the work-life balance I get because I am in charge of my schedule. And the benefits, like let's face it, PM pays, and it's very important for us and our families. And it's something people don't talk about a lot. It's a reality, and I'm just acknowledging that this is another great aspect of it.
For me, I've always wanted to be an all-rounder of some sort. And like I mentioned, I absolutely love the diversity of experience that I get as a PM and how I'm able to work with cross-functional teams and learn from them. Like every day I'm learning something new. I get to create stuff. I get to work with the coolest people. For now, that's what keeps me going. Hopefully we connect and I'll let you know in the near future, like a big achievement that keeps me in the product space. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'll pass this. I'm sorry. I just want to say, like, I'm so glad that you guys shared all that valuable things that you have been doing. But also, thanks, Mary Lee, for pointing out that you get money, and it's a benefit that you are boss of your own, and not thinking like that's very materialistic and acknowledging it. Thanks for sharing that. Thank you, everyone.
Bay Area and 2 kids.
Hey guys, really amazing insights. I mean, loved all the info coming out. Just something that relates here. I'm also early stage in my career. I just want to know, specific to your stories, what was that point in your early stage career when you made that decision and said, hey, this is what I want to do going forward?
Nudi, you can start. This is a question for you.
Okay, thank you. So I've been all over the place in what I wanted to do for my career. I started from mechanical engineering, and then I came to college here, and then I decided to do computer science and business, right? Business for me was very surprising. Like I surprised myself with choosing to study business. And then I did a couple of internships. I did some software engineering internships. And I met this girl. She was fresh, like she was a new grad, and she worked at Uber. Before that, I had never met anybody who works at like a company that I used the product. And then she was a software engineer, and I asked her what she did as a software engineer. And then she told me, and I said, that doesn't sound very fun. And then I told her what I wanted to do. I didn't have the vocabulary at the time to like accurately describe product management, but she told me, that sounds like product management. I was like, oh, what's product management? And then I went down a whole rabbit hole of figuring out what product management was. And then I did an internship at Microsoft, like a product management internship. And it was unbelievable. Like the whole time I had so much autonomy. First, I was like, I don't know how these people trust me to like deliver this product. Like these people are looking to me for direction to tell them, okay, what should we build and why? But I absolutely loved the autonomy that I had in the role. And I loved being able to meet with customers and understand like the hidden messages. Like when they tell you their problems, there's always something underlying. And like being able to tease that out, it was very rewarding for me. So that's when I decided, okay, product it's for me. Yeah.
All right, we'll not be able to take any more questions, but you're free to talk to the panelists because we'll have to leave the venue soon. So we'll take one final photo.
Yes.
And then we can leave.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.